The Midnight Menace, a name that sends chills down spines, refers to a mysterious and elusive serial killer who strikes precisely at the stroke of midnight every New Year's Eve. This insidious figure has captured the public's imagination, embodying both the terror of an unknown predator and the ominous symbolism of time's passage. The significance of this concept lies in its ability to tap into primal fears related to both the celebration of new beginnings and the lurking threat of darkness in moments of joy. In exploring the Midnight Menace, we delve into the chilling notion of a killer who uses time itself as a weapon, transforming the most universal countdown into a ticking time bomb. This concept plays upon the tension between celebration and fear, exploiting the vulnerability we experience in the transition to a new year. A time meant for hope and renewal. Real-world examples can heighten our understanding of this unsettling theme. Consider the Zodiac killer, whose cryptic messages and elusive identity wrought fear across California during the late 1960s and early 70s. While not tied to a specific time, the Zodiac's unpredictable nature similarly hijacked moments of normalcy and safety. Another pertinent example is Jack the Ripper, whose reign of terror in Victorian London became imminently tied to the foggy, gaslit streets, a master at leveraging the cover of darkness and confusion. Not unlike the Midnight Menace exploiting the chaos of celebration, proponents of exploring such dark narratives argue that they serve as cautionary tales, reminding society to remain vigilant even in times of festivity. These stories can also provide insights into the psychology of fear, perhaps aiding in real-world criminal profiling and prevention strategies. However, there are challenges and controversies surrounding this fascination with a figure like the Midnight Menace. Critics argue that such narratives can sensationalize and potentially glorify violence, encouraging a morbid curiosity that detracts from the gravity of real-life tragedies. There are also ethical concerns about the impact on the victims' families and the potential for inspiring copycat crimes. The Midnight Menace connects deeply with the broader topics of fear, celebration, and the thin veneer separating safety from chaos. It underscores humanity's perpetual dance with time and the perpetual hope that each new year will be better than the last, even as shadows linger in the periphery. This intricate interplay between light and darkness, celebration and fear, continues to captivate, disturb, and ultimately remind us of our fragile existence in a world where the clock never stops ticking. In the chilling saga of the New Year murders, the concept of patterns of the New Year murders refers to the distinct and recurring behaviors or methodologies exhibited by the serial killer, who strikes precisely at the stroke of midnight as the world ushers in a new year. This concept plays a pivotal role in understanding the killer's psychological profile, motives, and potential next move, offering crucial insights for law enforcement in their quest to apprehend the perpetrator. The significance of identifying patterns in these murders cannot be overstated. Patterns help to establish a predictive framework, offering detectives a potential lead or a clue that could break the case wide open. Recognizing these patterns can mean the difference between preventing the next murder and allowing another year to pass with no resolution. Consider the example of the infamous New Year's Eve of 2015, when a meticulously planned killing took place in Times Square amidst throngs of revelers. The victim, a local journalist, was found with a distinctive marking, a hallmark of the killer's modus operandi. This pattern was eerily similar to another case from a previous year in Sydney, where the same type of marking was discovered on a victim at a waterfront fireworks display. Such consistent elements across different cases allow investigators to link crimes that on the surface seem unrelated. Another example is the geographical pattern that emerged from the killer's actions. Initially, the murders appeared scattered across continents. Yet over time, a discernible pattern of targeting major cities with notable New Year's celebrations emerged. This pattern suggested the killer's desire for symbolic spectacle, using the global stage of New Year's transitions to magnify the impact of their crimes. Opinions vary on the interpretation of these patterns. Some criminologists argue that the killer's affinity for major cities highlights a deep-seated need for notoriety, while others suggest it's a calculated strategy to leverage the chaotic environments typical of New Year's celebrations, thus complicating capture efforts. Yet interpreting these patterns is not without challenges. Skeptics argue that coincidences can be misleading and that over-reliance on patterns may lead to overlooking outliers or alternative theories. Moreover, there is a risk of public panic when patterns suggest a probable strike location, potentially causing widespread alarm. These patterns influence other aspects of the investigation, such as profiling the suspect and strategizing surveillance and prevention measures for upcoming New Year's events. Thus, uncovering the patterns of the New Year murders is crucial not only for solving past cases, but also for anticipating future incidents, connecting the psychological and geographical dots that define this chilling narrative. In the chilling tale of a serial killer who strikes at the stroke of midnight every New Year, the profile of the unknown killer serves as a crucial focal point that delves into the psyche and methodology of this mysterious figure. At its core, this concept revolves around constructing a detailed psychological and behavioral sketch of the killer based on available evidence, victimology, and the unique signature of their crimes. This profile is a critical tool for law enforcement and investigators, providing insights into the killer's motives, patterns, and potential next moves, which are essential for narrowing down suspects and ultimately apprehending the criminal. The significance of profiling in this context cannot be overstated. It helps contextualize the crimes within a broader psychological framework, offering explanations for why the killer might choose New Year's Eve and the stroke of midnight as their time to strike. This could suggest a symbolic fresh start or an obsession with time and new beginnings, offering a window into the killer's motivations and underlying psychological issues. Profiling thus becomes an indispensable asset in predicting future actions and preventing further violence. In the real world, criminal profiling has been used in cases such as the hunt for the Zodiac killer and the apprehension of the BTK killer, both of which involved understanding behavioral patterns to narrow down suspect lists. In these instances, profiling offered a psychological portrait that helped investigators understand the killer's modus operandi, although the process is not without its flaws. Critics often point to instances where reliance on profiling led to wrongful accusations or diverted resources away from more effective investigative techniques. Despite its potential pitfalls, many in the law enforcement community advocate for the use of profiling as a complementary tool rather than a standalone solution. The art of profiling demands a delicate balance between scientific data and intuition, often sparking debate about its reliability and ethical dimensions. On the one hand, it provides a structured approach to otherwise chaotic investigations. On the other, it can sometimes perpetuate biases or oversimplified narratives. Ultimately, the profile of the unknown killer in this story intricately ties into other facets of the narrative, including the suspense of the chase, the psychological depth of the investigation, and the exploration of human evil. It influences how law enforcement strategizes and communicates with the public, shaping the unfolding drama and adding layers of complexity to the quest for justice. The investigation and police efforts surrounding the mysterious case of a serial killer who strikes at the stroke of midnight every New Year form the backbone of a chilling and relentless pursuit for justice. At its core, this involves a comprehensive and methodical approach by law enforcement agencies to track down an elusive criminal whose pattern is as predictable in timing as it is unpredictable in execution. The significance of this aspect is paramount, as it not only defines the progress of the narrative, but also reflects the dedication and resourcefulness of the police in the face of one of the most challenging types of criminal cases. One notable example of police efforts in such cases is the employment of task forces specifically dedicated to catching serial offenders. These units often involve collaboration across different jurisdictions and utilize a combination of forensic expertise, psychological profiling, and advanced technology to piece together clues that might otherwise go unnoticed. In the case of our New Year's Eve killer, such a task force would likely analyze patterns in victimology, geographical hotspots, and any forensic evidence left at the crime scenes. Another real-world application is the use of public appeals and media to gather information from the community. Law enforcement can leverage this to generate leads through public tips, though this comes with its own set of challenges, such as sifting through a large volume of potential red herrings. Opinions supporting the necessity of thorough investigation in these cases often emphasize the need for patience and persistence, highlighting that the unique pattern of the murders, the annual occurrence, provides both a predictable timeline for law enforcement and psychological pressure on the killer that could lead to mistakes. However, challenges abound, such as the long intervals between crimes, which can lead to a loss of momentum and attention from both investigators and the public. Additionally, controversies might arise regarding the allocation of resources or the potential for false accusations in an attempt to close a high-profile case swiftly. These investigative efforts not only underscore the relentless drive to deliver justice, but also set the stage for deeper explorations into the psyche of the serial killer. The ongoing cat-and-mouse chase keeps the audience engaged, providing a narrative tension that is crucial to maintaining interest. Ultimately, The investigation connects to other aspects of the story by illuminating the intersection between methodical police work and the unpredictable nature of human behavior, driving home the theme of order in the face of chaos.